디기네 다도 민데베 둥해네 다도 되니가로 그 요원줘야 그 정신전지 차이도 와. 자 드레이면 인도 그 요도 깬了때네 요원줘야 집에 이르잖아요. 다다 둥해 여대버지 고 세야 돼. 다다 먼저 배 대화지 줘야 돼. 드네지 드네 고하시리기도 와.
Happiness and suffering do not come about from nowhere. They come into being as a result of their own causes and conditions. And this very fact suggests that although, for example, one may be at present going through and undergoing a painful experience, an intense suffering, but since this event or experience is a result of causes and conditions, that very fact suggests that this will pass. Again, this will change. So we will understand that happiness and suffering are subject to changes and they are impermanent.
다 대삼식이 아니 대화의 유아요리 동행의 유아요리스럽도야 집으로 차서군이 단 이번에 사괴 유중 미다니 동행이
As far as the fact of impermanence or the transient nature is concerned, there is an equality between happiness that we all aspire to attain and suffering that we all naturally wish to avoid and overcome. So in that sense, there is a parity between the two. But then the second axiom points out the real difference between happiness and suffering, because it suggests that all contaminated phenomena, the phenomena that comes into being as a result of pollution, are fundamentally dissatisfying or unsatisfying. And implication here is that those phenomena that come into being not through such causal process can be satisfying or can be fulfilling. So when we talk about contaminated phenomena here, from the Buddhist point of view, we are talking about events and experiences that come into being as a result of negative thoughts and emotions. And any experience or event that takes place or that comes into being under the power of negative impulses, afflictions of mind and thoughts and emotions, they are said to be polluted, they are said to be contaminated by these pollutants of mind. And these are said to be fundamentally unsatisfying, and they are said to be fundamentally dukkha, which is often translated as suffering. So they are in the final analysis in the nature of suffering. Is it possible to overcome these pollutants, these negative thoughts and emotions, these pollutants? And that's the question.
So that the digi nyumo said that the tunge zawa imbati dan mo chai ngyo di me ndu sane ta ngan zo ji ka so nyumo said ta da tunge zawa da sakba.
By pollutants, the Buddhist teachings are referring to the afflictions of mind, the afflictive emotions and afflictive thoughts. And the Tibetan word is nyonmong, or Sanskrit is klesha, and it refers to a whole class of thoughts and emotions which are by their very nature afflictive and negative. And the etymology of the Tibetan word nyonmong suggests that it is that which afflicts from within, and afflicts in the sense of causing suffering and pain. The root of suffering really lies within us, and root of also happiness also lies within us. Spiritually transformed state of mind leads to happiness. Undisciplined state of mind, a mind that is under the power of afflictions, lead to suffering.
Tadi anda tegi da ge midaba da dijin je midaba sa da kuida man drain ji sam sam be na ani gyujin ji du cheshin ani droba tamja lo ani geji ki jigdu ya res ta geji ki jigya de ani ya 가서 우리
anything that comes into being as a result of causes and conditions are, in the final analysis, do not have any independence. They are in the process of ever-changing. They have no real control to sort of stand on its own. And also, that the changing process does not require any other third factor. The very causes and conditions that sort of gave rise to their origination are the very causes and conditions that also planted the seed for their cessation. So, and it suggests that whatever things or events that come into being due to causes and conditions lack independent power. They come into being, they are other powered, they are determined by other forces.
랑 semji wangdo song, semji mo be xiang wangdo song. Da dine chi ne su go ne, da chi samlo stan be yin, chao da karu xia yin so so shi do ga samlo stan na.
We let ourselves be ruled and controlled by our thoughts and emotions, and we let our thoughts and emotions to be determined and controlled by our negative impulses, the pollutants, the afflictions of mind, and so on. But if we continue to allow this, then it leads us to misery and suffering. So we begin to appreciate that point. Thinking along these lines, we'll be able to begin to really perceive afflictive emotions and thoughts as genuine destructive forces.
So the thing which bring disaster or harm on us, that's the enemy. So the ultimate enemy is within ourselves. Oh, that's difficult, isn't it? If enemy they're outside, we can run away, we can hide, we can deceive even sometimes. But if the enemy here within ourselves, oh, difficult. Now the next question is very important. Whether there is possibility to win over this enemy. Now this is the ultimate question, very important question. 다 nyumo 봐야지 매나. 무디 잡아왜 좀된 대반 난신. 지마섬 이런 신을 주야 알았어. 아니 지시섬 이버듯이도 있네. 지마 여여 버리지. 다 들으시면이나. 다 알아지나? 아니 창동 알아동 아니 배도 기부신 되는 약셔리.
So the real question at the critical question.
사무스게 마담체. 나도 배지 미삼로 망고 천주 망고 영향이 밀레 전주 삼로 가게 명인데 추지동 더제제세 니면 기부로 시대에 배지 기부였어요. 딘다시 제는 가서 삼로 망고 가게 다 먹어체. right? 가래 참바지체. 아니 기부지 대신 다 약셔 봐.
So the critical question for a spiritual practitioner is whether or not there is a possibility to overcome this inner enemy that is within all of us. So that is the critical question. That is also the challenge. And if it were the case, as suggested by some ancient Indian philosophical thought, that the pollutant really lies in the very nature of consciousness itself, that they are inseparable, that so long as consciousness exists, these pollutants will exist as an essential characteristics or nature of our consciousness, of our thoughts. If that were the case, then it suggests that there is no possibility of overcoming them. And if that is the case, and for me at least, then I would rather than be hedonistic, don't even make the effort, sort of seek solace in alcohol, maybe some other thing, some other external substances, and then just forget about the whole thing. And also, do not engage into these kind of philosophical or spiritual kind of probing questions. And sometimes it does seem that if you compare human beings with animals, sometimes we human beings are so caught up in our power, imagination, and thinking that sometimes we create our own kind of complications and complexities.
So this brings the third point.
So this relates to the third axiom that all phenomena are empty and devoid of self-existence.
디 동시 담아서 매배 계시 말봐 안데 둥이 시기 시기 이니 가가 야마스 라빈데 둥이 시하고 때야